Hello everyone, I am Laethas and welcome back to another video, and today I am going to be responding to Apollo Graye's manga tag video. He recently put this up, and he may have put it up today if I decide to get this video out as quickly as I possibly can. But there will be a link to his channel and the original tag in the description of this video if you would like to go check that out. I definitely recommend you do. Apollo Graye is another manga tuber, and he makes some pretty good videos. Has different opinions than my own, so it's nice to sort of see different opinions, different perspectives sort of about manga in the industry, that kind of thing. But anyway, this is a 5-question long tag, and at the end of the video I will be tagging 2 people, so stick around for that. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Question 1. What is your ideal manga? Now, this question for me is a little bit difficult because my taste, probably as you can see by my collection, is quite varied, so it's a little bit harder for me to say this. So maybe ideal isn't the best word to use for this for me, but this is a series that I want, and a series that I have yet to get. I would like a long-form Yuri drama. You know, I like my Yuri, and there hasn't been one that is all that long that we have gotten here, or that may have even come out. So I would like to see like a 15, 20 volume long Yuri that is like a very hardcore drama. I don't want like a melodrama, but like real issues that are like impactful and important, and I'd like to see Yuri involved in it. Other things I like to see, anything that's going to be similar to like Nana, which is up here, or Berserk, Solanin, series that are similar to those, I also really enjoy. So, you know, ideal isn't the best because there are many different ideals for me, because I like many different kinds of stories. So, if I could get a long-form Yuri drama, I would be a happy man. Moving on to question number 2. Name a series that you love, and name a series that you loathe, and explain why you love or loathe said series. Now, I'm going to start off with the loathe. Now, loathe is not a very good word for this either, just because it is very difficult for me to, like, absolutely hate a piece of media. So I'm just going to make this the series that I was the most disappointed in, just because I can't think of any series off of the top of my head that I hate or despise. So we're going to go with the 9-volume series Raiders. I read the first volume. I was very interested in the series. I wanted to see what the characters were going to do. They were fairly interesting, and I sort of wanted to see sort of what was going to happen with the characters, where the story was going to go. And so I picked up the rest of the series, and as I kept reading it, it just got worse and worse. Or, well, not necessarily worse, but it didn't end up being what I sort of expected or wanted it to be. It was sort of more like heavy, like, action series, which is not something I was expecting. And the paneling did not really work very well for being an action series. It was pretty hard to follow sometimes. And the sort of story behind it was very convoluted and messy. It felt very similar to like Taboo Tattoo. If you've seen that, it's one of the very few anime that I have rated at a 1. So feeling similar to that is not something that is good. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in Raiders. Had a pretty good premise on the onset, some likable characters, some interesting interactions, but overall just kind of fell flat for me. So that is the series that I loathe or am just the most disappointed in, really. Now, moving on to series that I love. Now, there are a lot of series I could talk about. I could talk about Nana, Berserk, Solanin, Utsubora, the list just kind of goes on, but I'm going to talk about a series that isn't as much talked about, or in Utsubora's case, I haven't preached to death, and that is going to be Opus by Satoshi Kon. Now, if you've not picked this up, definitely do so. If you liked Perfect Blue or Paprika, those are the two of his films that I've seen, absolutely buy this, because this is very reminiscent of those. Very well put together story, not one you get to see very often, and just sort of really well just plays with the idea of reality and the breaking of reality. And so, very interesting, not something you typically see, and one I highly recommend. This is not a story that I've ever read before. Very unique, very different, and I really love it. One of the best manga that I have ever read. So that is a series that I love, Satoshi Kon's Opus. And it's not as talked about as like a Berserk or a Solanin. So I thought it was a good opportunity to put this into the video. And next up, name 3 out of print or unlicensed manga that you would like to see sort of printed again or printed for the first time. And I'll have images on screen of like the cover for these, but the first one, these aren't in any particular order, but the first one I'm going to say is Inside Mari by Shuzo Oshimi. If you know me, you know I really like Oshimi works, and Inside Mari is a very interesting take on the ideas of identity and what makes a person who they are. And if you've not read it, I highly recommend checking it out. It has not been released in English, or at least I don't think it has in physical, or I know it hasn't in physical. I think Crunchyroll may have been releasing it digitally, but I don't care about the digital releases. I need a physical copy if I'm going to go out and buy it. So if you've not read Inside Mari, go check it out. I'd really love to see it get a physical release. And given how popular Oshimi works have been recently, that seems like a pretty good possibility of actually happening. Next up, I have Hikaru no Mari, or City of Light. I think it's Hikaru no Mari, I think is the title. But it's the City of Light. It's a single volume series by Inio Asano, and for some reason it has not been licensed. I can't imagine it would be very difficult for Viz Media to license this work, and considering it's only one volume, it's not a risky investment whatsoever, so I don't know what they're doing, because Asano works are very popular, and this is just one volume, and it's a very good volume at that. But it's like most other Asano works. It's kind of hard to say exactly what it's about, but you read it and you sort of understand exactly what he's trying to say. So it's a collection of short stories, similar in that aspect to What a Wonderful World, though they are, I feel, more connected than What a Wonderful World. Yeah, very good work. I love Inio Asano, and for whatever reason, Viz is slacking on printing it in English. So I'd love to see that come out, and I highly recommend you read it, especially if you are an Asano fan. And last up for series I'd like to see sort of released that weren't in English, that it has to be, well, it doesn't have to be, because there are a lot of series that I'd like to see in English, but we're going to go with Nozoki Anna. Now, fair warning, this is a very ecchi series, very sexual series, so if you're not into that, don't read it, but if that doesn't bother you at all, it is one of the best drama stories written, period. Absolutely fantastic, it's gut-wrenching, it's painful, and it will hurt you, and just sort of the things that happen in the characters' lives, they feel very, somewhat real. They feel real, they feel believable. There's nothing super outlandish to the point where it breaks your suspension of disbelief. It is all within the realm of possibility. And it is an ecchi series. Not only is it just an ecchi series, but it's heavy ecchi, and it has a score on Mal of over an 8, which almost never happens for an ecchi series. Normally those are much lower because people are inherently biased towards them. So if an ecchi series has over an 8, you know that there's some really, really good material in there. And if you've not read it, I highly recommend you do so. Keep in mind that ecchi fan service warning, but even if you're not into sort of the fan service aspect, it really plays to the series' strength in this one, and I would still advise you to read it, just because it is that good. And the events that happen are very well told and very, very painful to read because nothing in it feels as if it couldn't happen. It feels like the things that are happening in the story are definitely things that could happen. It's similar in that aspect to Nana in that it's grounded in reality. Nothing is impossible, and it's believable, and that's what makes it so much better. But that'll do it for question 3. That took a little bit of time to get through, so I pardon how long this video is getting, but we're going to move on to question number 4, and that is, looking at your collection, are you happy with the current state of things? And I'm going to say yes. I have a lot of series in my collection that I've wanted to get. A series I never thought I would ever be able to pick up, Berserk, because it's typically expensive. I happened to luck out, and there was a half-off sale for all of the volumes, and I was able to pick it up, so I'm very happy with that. I have Nana, Solanin, and this is going to be brief spoiler for my upcoming manga haul, but I recently picked up a volume I have been chasing and looking after for a long time. A very, very rare volume. Been out of print for a while, and took me a long time to find a good price for it, but I just showed up on Amazon for a new copy for less than retail price, when normally it costs like $35 to $40 just to pick up a new volume, and there aren't very many out there. So there's like 1 or 2 on the market at a time, and they're very expensive to pick up, but I picked up Sakuran, and I recently read it. Very unique manga. I definitely need to reread this. Not something that I can sort of get everything out of in an initial read, and it also has a metallic cover, which is the only series in my collection that does that. You can see, ooh, I'm going to blind you guys right there. Ooh, fun. Yeah, very rare volume. I've recently read it. It is a decent read. Want to reread it again, and I was very happy to get this. Very excited. So happy it's in as good condition as it is. So, you know, it's these moments that make me realize how much fun it is to collect. And I'm really quickly going to show a page that has probably some of the most unique sort of color design I've ever seen, because this volume does contain color images, and it's, if I could see this in another volume, I would love it. I don't care if this is a misprint, but I don't know if you can see that, but it sort of has like a blue, purple, green gradient where the blacks would normally be, and I'm not sure if my camera picks it up very well, but it looks very, very nice. So, yeah, kind of went off on a tangent there, but that is sort of like one of the volumes that I recently picked up that I'm very happy to have, and it sort of just reminds me just how fun it is to collect volumes. Yeah, I'm very happy with the state of my collection. A majority, or almost all of the series I enjoy, or have read and enjoyed quite a lot, so that's always a plus. But moving on to the 5th and final question, do you plan on collecting / completing all of the manga in your collection? Now, this is a yes and no answer for me, because there are series I dropped, but in my opinion, there's no series that is dropped forever, because if I hear later on down the road that it's one of the best written, I might pick it up again. But before that, you know, there are series that I have dropped and that I do not see myself picking up more volumes, at least for now. So, unless something comes out about a specific series, and it turns out that most people are like, that's one of the best series ever written, I'll give it a second chance. But if that doesn't end up happening, then there are series in my collection that will end up not completed. So, kind of an interesting question, that one, because it's kind of very different on the way you sort of feel about what dropped or means, or how you like to collect. So, very interesting question, very happy to answer it, but it's probably, if I had to pick a yes or a no answer to that, like I couldn't be nuanced, I would probably say no, because there are series that I very doubt that I'm going to end up picking up more of the volumes for, just because I wasn't too into them, and I haven't really heard a whole lot about them since I sort of dropped those series. But that'll do it for the tag. Now comes the next part where I tag two people. As I said in the beginning, I'm going to tag Polyama and Simply G. So again, you guys don't have to make a video. You guys could just respond in the comments down below. But I'd like to see a video. Tag me on Twitter if you do make a video and post it. I'd be happy to see sort of your responses to these questions. If I didn't tag you, you can make your own video as well, or just leave your answers in the comments down below. I love reading the comments sort of to these sort of question series. I especially love the nuanced responses that some people give. Very interesting to read. I like gathering many more opinions. And last up, I'm gonna tag one more person, but this is not for this tag. But Apollo, you son of a gun, you haven't responded to my tag. You're tagging me, but you haven't responded. So I'm calling you out here. You gotta respond to that tag, okay, Apollo? You're gonna respond to my character's manga tag. Link to that in the description. I want to see your answers, Apollo. Come on now. But enough with the fun. Those are my answers to these questions. Thanks to Apollo for making the tag. As I said, I will be leaving a link to the original video and his channel in the description of this one. If you have any questions regarding my thoughts or opinions sort of in this tag, you want a more nuanced answer than the ones I gave, or you want something more in-depth, leave a comment about that. If you'd like to see more of this style video, or you'd like to see me make more tags, or just have video ideas in general, leave those in the comments down below as well. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share, and if you'd like to keep up to date with all of my content, you can hit that subscribe button. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I am Laethas. Goodbye.